Legendary record producer Roy Thomas Baker has passed away. This is the Rock and Roll Weatherman. My name is Sean Morrison, and he was best known for producing albums from Queen and The Cause. He was 78 years old, and he came from London. His career began in the early 70s, according to a press release by his publicist. He did pass away April 12th at the age of 78, but we are finding out 9 days later, obviously, because it just got released to the media. He died at his home in Lake Havasu City, Arizona, and the news was just revealed by his family. Cause of the death not established. Like I mentioned, best known as a producer of the Queen's classic 1975 album Night the Opera. Of course, it had the song Bohemian Rhapsody, the self-titled debut from The Cause, Just What I Needed. Great song on there, featuring the late Ben Orr, and the first two albums of Journey with Steve Perry, which was the 1978 Infinity and 1979 album Evolution. And he was born in Hampstead, London. He started his music career actually at the city's Decca Studios when he was 14. So we're going back to like the 1960s for that, I believe. That would his exact birthday. No, actually no. 1960 exactly. He's born 1946. I didn't realize he was born that year. But getting back to what I'm going to also mention, he also engineered records from Dr. John, David Bowie, the Rolling Stones, The Who, Dusty Springfield, among others. And his earliest success as an engineer was his work on the free song All Right Now from 1970, and from 1972, the T-Rex song Bang a Gun, Get It On. And then he had the relationship with Queen starting in 1973, producing much of their self-titled debut album. Over the past several years, he worked on the 1974 follow-up Queen 2, The Sheer Heart Attack, from 1974, and also from 1974, Night at the Opera, and 1978's Jazz. And Queen drummer Roger Taylor said that Baker brought a certain amount of discipline and a lot of cynicism and a passion for fattening desserts. He was very well disciplined and very strict in the beginning. He would always get it right, to be right. And you want to know who else he produced? He's also worked on Foreigner's Head Games album. Elliot Easton said that Roy was one of the pieces of the puzzle that made the Cause what they became. Friends, if you're not subscribed to the Show Morrison YouTube channel, please do so. Everyone else has to subscribe. We thank him much for the continued love, honor, and support. It is greatly appreciated. He stayed busy in the 1980s working on records from Alice Cooper, Flash to Fashion, The Cheap Trick One-on-One, Molly Kuju, Fast for Love, and Ozzy Osbourne, No Rest for the Wicked. And then he was promoted to Elektra Records A&R department in the 80s, where he helped sign such artists as Metallica, Simply Red, as well as 10,000 Maniacs. Now, over the next few decades, he produced records by The Darkness, The Smashing Pumpkins, and others. His last production credit was in 2014 for the Yes album Heaven and Earth. Very sad this man has passed away, and he worked on a lot of records, and he also worked other bands such as Nazareth. He did engineering for them on a few things. Also a band called Gasoline, not Gasoline, a band called Hawkwind, Robert Calvert, Man. He worked with the Tramps. Yep, the group that sings. I think this is the group that sings Disco Inferno. Oh brother, from 1975. I mentioned Queen and the Opera. Then there was a band called Jet, but it wasn't the band Jet that came out years later. But he worked with them. Oh, but the list definitely goes on. Ian Hunter. I mentioned Journey. I mentioned Jazz. Mentioned The Cause. Man, he worked with a lot of people. The Stranglers. Oh man, the list definitely goes on and on. Sad news once again for the passing of Roy Thomas Baker. Rest in peace. Shame, shame, shame.